We didn't get to hang out in the wilderness very long. But you know, you can go through a wilderness spiritually too. You quit reading your word. Maybe you only read a little bit a day. Where you used to have a hunger for God and you used to search His word and you used to study. Now it's become, I can live on a verse a day. I can live on just a worship song once in a while. I can live on just going to church on a Sunday. That's enough for me. I'm good. I've got eternal salvation, you know. I've got heaven as my home. I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm great. I don't really need anything else. And what you're surviving on is what you got 20 years ago. How healthy is that? If you had to live physically on what you ate 20 years ago, how healthy would you be? If you had to live on what you ate last week, how healthy would you be? Really? But we do that spiritually and expect the same benefit. I don't really need to read the word. I read it last week. You know. I don't really need to study that. Oh, I've learned that. I learned that in Sunday school. You guys, I've gone back and read stories that I learned in Sunday school and I know them. But I go back and read them and go, where'd that verse come from? That wasn't in there. Yeah, it was. But God will reveal more and more. When we get to the place where we think we've learned it all, you are in a wilderness. When you think you have arrived, you're in a wilderness. When you think you've learned all you need to learn, you're in a stuck wilderness. And you need to start seeking God real quick. We don't always realize, because see, a desert is a desperate situation. You know you're desperate when you're in a desert. But you really don't always know you're desperate when you're in a wilderness. Because it looks comfy around you. I found a stream. I have water. I found a berry bush. I have some sustenance. How long can you last on berries? When are you going to need protein? When are you going to need bread? Some point, because berries eventually will get to your system. And you don't even know that they're there. You don't even have a clue. And I have lived in both. I have been in a desert where I am desperate for God. And I have been in a wilderness and comfortable and didn't even know I was living in it. Had no idea that I was so complacent in God. I was so content. I'd arrived somewhere, I guess. I don't know. But I've been in both. I think the wilderness is more dangerous than the desert. I really do. Because you slowly die and don't know you're dying. You know, it is more dangerous to put a frog, you ever heard this story? But if you take a frog and throw him into boiling water, he will instantly jump out. But if you put the frog in cold water and slowly heat it up, he'll never notice he's boiling to death. What is so dangerous about a wilderness is we don't even understand what's happening to us until we get to desperate. And by then, it might be too late. We don't really realize complacency. Rick Renner, I was reading one of his books about merchandising and the anointing, and he says one of the most dangerous places to be is in the spirit of complacency. Because what happens is we get bored, so we either do two things. We start to die and don't realize we're dying, or we get creative and we get into apostasy and weird doctrines because we get bored. He said, and both are dangerous. And he's right. Because I've watched people. They get bored spiritually. And instead of going back to the Word and saying, God, I need more of you. Teach me. They go searching for something off. They create something. And that's why you've got all these little doctrines that kind of run amok through the church. Let's run over here. Jesus showed himself over here. And Jesus is standing in the middle going, that's not me. And we missed it. But it's because we're bored. And it's because we're living in complacency instead of consistency. But this is a wilderness experience. And we sometimes live in it and don't even know. We come to church every Sunday. I felt a goosebump. So the presence of God was in the house. That was enough for me. That will survive me for 7 more days. Really? Really? If all I did was feed you a few snacks on Sunday morning like we do after church, and I told you you're not allowed to eat the rest of the week, you would be desperate by the time you showed up the next Sunday. You'd be desperate. But we show up the next Sunday and do the same thing. Well, I got enough last Sunday. I'm okay. Where's our hunger? Where's our thirst? But I think part of it, too, is because our culture is full of it. Our culture gives us everything else. Entertainment. Entertainment will feed you. Did you know that? It'll feed you, but you'll get hungry fast. So then you'll have to get more. It doesn't stick to your ribs. You ever had a dinner that when you have the dinner, it hits your gut and you're like, wow, I'm not eating the rest of the day. That just hit me. You know what I mean? It hits you. It sticks to your ribs. Or you ever had a dinner and in an hour you're hungry again? That's entertainment. Entertainment it's bubble gum. It's eating a bag of Doritos and expecting it to stick to your ribs all day. It's not the same thing. Not when you have a crock pot full of homemade potato soup at home. There's a difference between Doritos and potato soup. There just is. Totally.